Transparent elections are not a partisan issue, and any attempts to make them one are pro-corruption and should be framed that way for the average citizen. We have an opportunity to improve the reliability of our election system right now. Let us not continue this mess in 2020. And this mess refers to the 2018 midterms, but I'm not going to stop with 2018. Americans know what happened in 2000. Americans know what happened in 2016. Americans know what happens every single election. It's not only a bipartisan issue, it is an American issue. Independent voters see it quite clearly. We don't want any more hypocrisy, and we don't want any more revenge. People do have a natural inclination toward revenge, and it's time to put revenge aside and focus on change. So, I do support measures to bring more equity to our voting system. However, I do have some caveats to my perspective. So, gerrymandering, of course, not so great. Okay? Inevitable, and of course both political parties in the United States do it when they have power. Okay? It's considered to be on the board, in the game. It's something that's an allowable action according to the political game they're playing. However, ethical or unethical it may be, this is just the way it is. And I think that should change, but I'm not holding my breath. I do not approve of gerrymandering. And then, of course, we talk about voting rights. Well, here's a voting right for you. Only U.S. citizens should be able to vote. Now, I'm pretty sure that's already the case. But there are people out there that suggest that people with visas or people that are illegal immigrants, and there shouldn't be too much voter ID. They say, don't have too much voter ID because that's unconstitutional. That's undemocratic. And I say, everybody that's of voting age should have an ID. Okay? Everybody that's 18 or older should have a government-issued ID or a driver's license. They should have the bare minimum requirement to vote. Okay? And if they have it, they should have it on them. They should bring it to the polling facility. Acting like, it's unconscionable that somebody could demand a voter's ID before they put their vote in to choose the direction of the country that they live in, the sovereign nation they live in. I think it's kind of misled. It's not the hill you want to die on. I don't use that term very often, but yeah, there was a good application of it there. And of course, so voter ID, I support requiring ID to vote, and I think it makes sense for us to control the system that way. It shouldn't be that just anybody can walk in without any sort of identification and vote. That doesn't seem to make any sense to me. I don't think it's a very safe way of managing an election. As for convicts voting, well, I wasn't going to touch on this topic tonight. I'm still I'm on the fence a little bit. I'm trying to decide what I really think about this. But one thing I can say is that it's not as big an issue. It's not a big issue. It's a small one, based on the prison population, as big as it is in the United States. It's a small issue, and honestly, if we're talking about violent criminals, violent offenders, you are going to see people, and I have seen in discourse online, a lot of people generally just don't really like the idea of allowing convicted felons to vote. Now, I don't think that committing a crime should take away your right to vote. Okay? Maybe I'm an idealist. maybe it's not a perfect world and this is a little bit too perfect an idea. It's not potentially reasonable. But in my mind, I don't see why, you know, committing a crime should remove your right to vote. I don't see the logic, per se. But, you know, we also need to keep psychotic and deranged people away from voting as well, I guess. I mean, again, especially in a two-party system, I mean, it's like how much harm could it cause? Yes, they'll likely vote for the Democrat. Yes, they could always change. They could change the you know, if the prisons are if the prisoners are a large portion of the population in that district or in that county, yes, it could change the outcome and go in a political direction if there's a promise made for prisoners' rights by the politician, by the presidential candidate, whoever it might be. But personally, yeah, hot take, I'm on the fence, but I'm kind of leaning that they should have the right to vote. So